a scion of many worlds. No talk, just action. The double introduces itself by diving for his face claws first and switches it into a disemboweling cut with the foot claws that he rolls away with and then dives onto the bastard to put it in a headlock, but his answer is something he had been considering for a while. It channels Axiom through the edges of its wings to turn them into blades and moves to try and slice his arms off. He has to teleport to dodge the attack. The double is on him in an instant as it only has one setting, which is attack. A swift punch earns a dodge back and turning it into a slash by extending his claws at the last moment and reefing to the side earns a slightly larger dodge as he's then forced to catch a brutal knee by closing his legs before it can be driven into his manhood. He rides up on the knee while locking the leg before throwing himself backwards to grab the ground and slam his opponent as hard as he can. The mirror-born bastard rolls with it and drags him to the side to try and puts him in a clinch of some kind. So he teleports away to try and get some distance, as being at the mercy of a kill-crazy fucker with his face is not something he wants to happen. The Axiom behind him twists and he turns in time to deflect a claw thrust at his head like a spear. He then dodges another thrust followed by an entire flurry of spear thrusts from his mirror clone. "The hell is even going on?" he demands as he weaves away, finally having a moment to talk. There is no answer as the reflection, clone, doppelganger, as the bastard that Jasper is going to goddamn in keeps on its unrelenting, unthinking, and unreasoning attack. He can sense nothing but a pure will to kill him, no expression on its face, no deviation in its Axiom presence, just sheer hostile intent. Lady Alure pants as her mind reels. She had managed to teleport him to the mirror chamber. She had actually teleported someone. She stands up with all four eyes clenched shut and stretches her wings. That wretch was unnaturally skilled in battle. No Earthani should have that level of killing instinct, such ability to fight, and there's the sound of a gasp and she jolts to the side. Her eyes open just in time to see one of her knights slam into the ground where she stood. It's Magrica, having made a fool out of her knights. Her entire troop is being dragged behind the Metak madwoman. "There are only a few drops of blood," Magrica says, before throwing another of her knights like a rag doll, causing the girl's wings to wipe the blood in the process. "You don't have that kind of strength. Where did you send him?" Has he impregnated you?" Lady Alure asks as she feels a cold hand move down her spine. Throwing that man to the dark mirror was one thing, but fighting a newly expectant mother. "What business of yours is it? Where is he?" I can sense the teleporty sorcery jiggery pokery. You're rabidly loyal to him after I grabbed him and rode the man's burning loins? Best thing I ever did, nothing compares. You could probably use a bit of it, you uptight bitch. "Wait, you what?" the Starseeker nearby asks, and Magrica turns to face her. "It's the big cover-up Miss Crazy here is a part of. That Earthani she just did something to? He's a male. When he gets the burning loins, he can quench them in a woman's burning loins, and that's a way to have a child that isn't some big ceremony, but a huge sweaty party that leaves you feeling like you've been beaten, but you love it anyways." Magrica answers the visibly terrified Nagasha. Wordlessly, Lady Alure pulls out a crystal lens that she holds up to her eye and sighs before tucking it away. "Magrica the Massive, I'm going to need for you to come with me. I've already killed one person to maintain the peace today. I don't want to make it 3. 3? Wait, she's pregnant?" "I am?" Magrica asks. She knew it was possible, but to have it confirmed this early was weird. Normally a woman had to go back once a month, and it was only at the 2nd or 3rd that she knew absolutely for sure. The lack of bleeds would do it too, but she was well away from her next. There's a second life within her. It is flickering, it is frail, it is not a sure thing. But it may be, Lady Alure says. And so must— "Shut the hell up, you stupid idiot." Magrika dismisses her and turns to the Star Seeker. What's this mirror that the puffy-winged hypocrite here mentioned? Mirror? Oh, yes. The Dark Mirror. It's the final test for martial masters of the Star Seekers. No one has passed the test in many generations. That explains why I've never heard of martial masters of the Star Seekers. We generally don't need them. Our order offers knowledge and succor without asking recompense. No one bothers attacking us because we give much for free. Yea, the healers, the farmers, the scholars, and the teachers. Since when the hell did any of you girls have warriors? Not for the last 200 years. The mirror is the ultimate test. What separates the merely violent from those who can feed on battle? Feed on battle? Magrika asks. Someone like you. Someone who revels and learns in every fight. It takes a special kind of person to... Magrika's laughter interrupts whatever it was the Star Seeker was about to say, and she smiles up at Lady Alure with an impudent grin. Well done, stupid. You not only made him stronger but handed him the respect of the Star Seekers. The air condenses and collapses as the nitrogen shifts to allow for oxygen. The slight variation in the atmosphere and the smell is all the warning Jasper gets before an enormous fireball erupts where he once was. His kick to the back of his double's head is dodged, and he's forced to twist away to avoid his thighs being lacerated clean open. Even before he started messing with his physiology, there was a massive vein there. Opening it would kill him. A lethal blow for either of them. He focuses as he catches a kick with the claws as close together as possible to form a brutal bident. He skids back, but in the contact he had gotten another sense of his double's body. No loss of energy. Consistent axiom flow. Whatever his double was, it both is and is not flesh and blood. It is real enough and a huge threat, but it hasn't lost a single calorie and the axiom isn't replacing it. It was also a match for his own. From the tiny bit of wear and tear that had been developing to the slight stains on the hand. A perfect duplicate, but unnatural and propelled by forces unknown. One that seems to know everything he does, except what he's learning about this thing. It clicks. It's a snapshot of him. Nothing more than a snapshot. It won't tire, it won't decay, it won't get hungry or thirsty. And it knows everything he does and can do everything he can, but it won't improve. It's stuck. It's static. If he grows even 1% stronger from this, then he has the advantage. Thrust, deflect, weave, clinch, and body blow. The bastard is stunned for a moment. He needs to focus, to be more than just a soldier, to be more than simply someone who swore and wants to live up to it. Headbutt to the face. Right knee to the side, deflect 2 thrusts to the sides and open palm strike the chest. Slide back to avoid the foot claws. He must embody it. He must be the example. Sacrifice throw with the feet as I'm dived at. Wings are exerted to aid in the kip-up. Spin with the side of the claw first to ward off the double. He must be as an unrelenting inferno, consuming all that would stand before him with an endless hunger for battle and conflict, never to languish in peace but to seek problems to test himself against. The proboscis stabs out with the force of an arrow, but he catches it. A swipe and the double is spraying blood from the tongue like organ. He shifts his stance to throw the mirror clone off balance as his offense ramps up further and further. He must be a great tree, his roots always seeking more water and new places to grasp at the earth, his branches and leaves ever growing wide and tall to drink the light of the sun and nourish his great trunk. He must always seek new paths. The next thrust is dodged upwards as he pushes himself to move in ways both unexpected and incredible. His double has no expression, but there is a pause in its movements. He's found a path that it can't follow. A brutal swipe of his claws tears into the wings of his double. He must be an endless mountain, reaching heights so grand that his enemies would choke to reach his peak. yet also depth so low that those who think they've found his base have barely even understood that he sits upon the base of the continental shelf, unyielding and impossibly vast. The double spins and he blocks the thrusting blow. There's a following headbutt and he counter-jabs to parry it at the collarbone. He could have killed the double. But there is more to learn, more to understand. He must be a flawless gemstone. The universe will never cease testing and pressuring him. It will forever apply heat and seek to crush him. But like the carbon born to be diamonds, the weight of entire worlds will only serve to perfect him further. There is a flurry of thrusts, and he focuses as they bombard down on him. His each parry is easier than the last. Easier and easier as he turns sideways, and with the thinning of his profile he needs only a single hand to keep himself unharmed. He turns his head away, relying only on his ears and antenna to keep track of the double. He must be an unknowable ocean, flowing around all obstacles and holding unimaginable mysteries, able to bear the greatest of weights with ease, yet also shift into a roaring tide, a bringer of life and a tsunami as one. He melts around the blows and learns before slamming forward, suddenly solid and all-consuming. His claws flash out and sever tendons, and as he flows, blurs and refuses to be thrown off balance, he tears the into the double in a furious offense. It is now a lesser thing unable to come close to him. It stumbles back, falling, vulnerable. He consumes it, his hand thrusting into the chest of the copy and closing on the beating heart. It's shredded against the serrated edge of his claw, and the entirety of the double simply ceases to be. His claw is still coated in blue-green blood that reeks of copper. He looks around the area as it seems to crack and fade. Then there's a sensation of movement, and he's suddenly facing the mirror again, this time on the right side. Around his neck is a pendant made of black glass with 5 missing triangles that make a crude star-like shape. It shines as brightly as the mirror. Well, that happened. He notes before looking at his gore-stained claw. Pity I couldn't rip out their heart. It would have made for a better story. Right. I have someplace to be. Or rather, there was someplace I was. He mutters as he feels the local energies and then vanishes. I really don't want to do this, but what is growing within you can... Lady Alure begins before going stock still as suddenly Jasper is there among them. The Star Seeker gasps at the sight of him, and Lady Alure braces herself. His right claw is coated in still dripping gore. All right. I would like an explanation of the bizarre mirror I was placed in front of that pulled me in and tried to get me killed by reflection, Jasper asks. You survived the trial of the dark mirror. No one's done that in centuries, the Star Seeker says, with her hands over her mouth. Okay, so was it supposed to make a copy of me out to kill me? Yes. The trial of the dark mirror is to conquer yourself, to feed off the conflict with a perfectly equal opponent and surpass them. You've done it. The Star Seekers have a martial master. The Circle of 5 is complete. Did I just get thrown into a major position of power in the organization I was about to beg a favor of? Jasper asks incredulously, before snorting in amusement and turning to Lady Alure. Even when you get a good shot in, I pull ahead. Just wow. What is it you... No, this is not going to be some absurd story where this madness takes part. You are coming with me or you're going to fight to stay free, do you understand? Lady Alure barks out, and Jasper slowly raises an eyebrow. I ripped into the heart of a man that looked a hell of a lot like me not even 5 minutes ago. I also like myself far more than I like you. If you are so eager to die, take a knife or sufficiently sharp object and slit your own throat. Don't get me to do the dirty work for you. Jasper hisses at her. So you ripped your own heart to pieces? Magrika asks, and Jasper chuckles. I was going to try and rip it out, but I was a little too on point and shredded it on the way into the chest of my double, which is a pity because I wanted to rip it out and crush it, maybe eat it. Oh my, Um, what is it exactly you want to? The Star Seeker begins to ask before Lady Alure begins to speak and finds a gore-encrusted claw wrapped around her mouth. Please continue, Jasper says, and she swallows nervously. What do you want? She asks as Lady Alure starts to try and thrash, but he either doesn't notice the blows or is simply ignoring them. I need the help of your scholars to help me get in contact with someone. Who? Are they missing? No. In fact, I'm the missing one. My story is strange and foreign, but I need a way to speak soul to soul with my sibling across the stars themselves. Lady Alure vanishes only to reappear in Jasper's grip. He's containing her. The story is long, is it? Very well. What do you hope to gain from this? I'll be sending a call for help with my memories of the night sky. With those both, they will be able to find this world and then me. Then I get to be among my fellows again. Jasper explains, and the Nagasha woman gives him a disappointed look. What? So, you're one of the crazies? Someone that devoured something odd and became addled? Perhaps struck on the head? She asks, and he just looks disappointed in her. Oh, don't you try to turn this around. Do you have any idea how many people get the idea in their heads that they're meant for more, for better things? How many convince themselves that they're the ones to undo the great disaster and set us back to the age of wonders, that they're some kind of star-born savior? I'll wager you met a fair number yourself and have records of a great many more, Jasper admits. However, have I not proved myself at least capable and odd enough to have something going on? Even if I am addled, there is something to learn from this addlement. I suppose trying to simply stand in the way of a martial master is a bad idea all around. Follow me, please, she says, and begins to slither away. Jasper begins to follow, dragging Lady Alure by her mouth as if he had forgotten about her entirely. I'll go fetch the water girls. After all, them knowing that you're suddenly a martial master is going to be a feather in their caps. How many are you traveling with? And are you going to keep dragging that woman around? The Star Seeker demands, and Jasper shrugs. 6 trainees and Magrica, and when her aggression levels drop low enough that I don't think she'll attack me the moment I let go. Jasper answers, and Lady Alure makes several gestures before growling and then forcibly calming herself down. He lets go. Do you have any idea how much damage this man is going to cause? Half the things everyone around me has been speaking about has sounded like absolute madness. From what I'm able to figure out, this woman... Man, Jasper interjects as she gestures at him. Fine, whatever. This man thing, whatever it's supposed to be. This man is somehow a threat to the grand midwives in a way that seems to make... Did they refer to you as a him or he? Yes. Fine. Somehow this man is a threat to the grand midwives, likely because he can somehow create children in some way that's pleasurable rather than formal and has something to do with the burning loins. My loins are made differently, so when they burn they seed rather than receive. This can create children. It has created a child. It has... Wait! Magrica's pregnant? It's early and fragile, but yes, the seed is there, Lady Alure says, and Jasper lets out a slight chuckle and smiles. Well, that just means I need to either find a way to get her to a better life yesterday or make this world a better place sometime around then as well. To the council. Time I introduce myself proper, Jasper says, pointing dramatically into the distance. And then the Star Seeker gently takes his wrist and rotates him so he's pointing to where the council chamber actually is, which is a fair bit more left than where he was pointing. You were pointing at the kitchens, the Star Seeker says, struggling to keep a straight face. The downside of a bottomless appetite. Jasper immediately confesses to, and she snorts loudly, then holds her face in shame. No! Damn it! I hate my laugh. Nothing wrong with it. Now then, forward we have a... Really? You really want to do this? Jasper announces before Lady Alure moves directly into the path and crosses her arms. My life for the Order. You are a danger to the Grand Midwives. You are a threat to the stability of the world. No matter how innocent or even benign your intent, I cannot let you continue. You can't stop me. Your great big attempt to kill me just made me stronger. What could you possibly do now? Jasper asks. Whatever I can. I am a paladin. We stand even when it costs us everything. We stand for what we believe is right, no matter the cost. Lady Alure says solemnly, and Jasper sighs as he runs a claw through his hair, inadvertently painting a thick streak of greenish-blue in his hair with the gore. This would be a lot easier for me if you were just a kill-crazy thug in fancy armor. Jasper says lowly, You think this is easy for me? You just want to go home or help people, but the sheer risk of what you might cause is too great, Lady Alure says, widening her stance. Pity. Jasper says, rolling his neck. Are you ready? Yes, she says, and he blasts into motion, and she barely gets her arms up in time to block the first punch. There's a ringing like a bell as she skids backwards, followed by a trinity of similar rings. Then there's a squeak of shock and a sickening crunch as Jasper drives his fist into her face. His right foot is stomped down sideways on her left one, and the claws sink into the floor to prevent her further retreat. She's limp and lifeless, but merely knocked out. A touch of axiom to exaggerate the sensation of the concussion and forcing her to sleep. He awkwardly tries to keep her from falling, not quite sure how to do so with a winged woman so much larger than he is. Short of tucking them in close, there's no way he can bring her anywhere without the feathers dragging on the ground. Did you... The Star Seeker's question is cut off by a loud snore from Lady Alure. Never mind. Is there somewhere I can put her so she can rest? You want her to rest? She's not a murderess. She's not a slaver or a sadist or any brand of monster I'm aware of. Quite the opposite, she's a protector of others. We're on the same side. It's just that we're having communication issues. I want to be a force for righteousness, someone that can be relied on. I can't do that if I'm killing people for misunderstandings. A life can be easily taken, but it's damn hard to give it back. And I have now given up trying to make sense of you. You need to see the council, if only so that I don't get a headache trying to figure you out. I teach basic reading and writing. I'm not suitable for this kind of strangeness, she says, looking up in a despairing tone of voice. Oh, stars guide me. This is going to bother me for seasons to come. Sorry, Jasper apologizes. What is your name? Or for that matter, what is this woman's name? You've been fighting her and you don't know her name. Not really. If she's told me before, then it slipped my mind. Jasper confesses. That is Paladin Mary Alure. Not quite a living legend, but she has a reputation of being relentless, untiring, and resourceful. That she chased you all the way here from wherever you began and threw you to the dark mirror when you were starting to win says a great deal towards those traits. And you? He prompts. Sister Bellwether. She says, and he nods. A pleasure to meet you, Sister Bellwether. Now, not to be rude, but I do need some place, preferably someplace soft and warm, to put Lady Alure here down. It would be rather awkward for me to meet the council carrying her in as her wings drag on the ground. Not to mention there's no telling what she would do when she awakens. That's a fair point. We'll make a quick detour then. The healing wing isn't far from the council chambers. It's a bit beyond it, in fact. Sister Bellwether says, and Jasper nods. So what does it mean to be the martial master? Am I expected to suddenly lead armies for an order I know little about? Am I to protect it, to teach people, to do something else? You want to fulfill the duties? I'm about to ask the council a favor, considering the little token I won from the mirror. They may decided that the payment for it is to fulfill what the badge of office implies. I'd rather not become some kind of assassin or war bringer on a large scale, although I do understand the need. Do you? So you're aware that the Queendom of Miru and the Greenstone Alliance's border tensions have risen into sabotage between their minds, bandits roaming the countryside, and enough mysterious disappearances that being a minor in those countries is a death sentence? No, I didn't. What's going on? Jasper asks solemnly. Oh, what isn't? They've despised each other since the Greenstone Alliance broke away from Miru and declared themselves an independent nation-state. Both countries lost nearly half their population almost right away when the Grand Midwives came down and ensured that only those that refused to fight were allowed to have children. But surprise, surprise, hatred doesn't live in blood. It simmered with the occasional bandit raid and a lot of insults and sabotage and theft for a while. But then prospectors just had to find numerous ore veins in the border mountains. Both sides are trying to get all the metal they can and keep the other from getting any. The casualties are in the thousands, and it's only been going on for 3 seasons. So a gold rush with knives out. Nice. Jasper's tone is dripping with sarcasm. Not even. It's mostly tin and some iron. There have only been tiny traces of precious metals. There's maybe enough silver to cast a large dagger and at most enough gold to gild a belt buckle. Good God. But that's not all. The Bright Dawn archipelago has numerous pirates choking out the shipping lanes, which is making both countries desperate for additional grain. Of course, legal traders from Bright Dawn are selling a more expensive grain that's of similar quality to what they used to get, or rather they were until the Goldlands caught wise and stopped sending the shipments entirely. So there's now a famine on 3 nations while a fourth is sinking into economic depression, and that's just on this half of the continent. So what you're saying is that if the Order wants to do something, then there's a great deal to be done. You are truly blessed with the gift of understatement, Sister Bellwether says drolly, one of my finer character traits. Oh, and before I forget, Greenstone and Miru have blocked several rivers each in the construction of their mines, and the side effect is causing a drought in the Goldlands. That's something I think will be solved fairly soon, though, as both nations were effectively holding the water hostage in return for enough grain to break the growing famines. The problem is that there's simply not enough. Too much of the harvest was lost in the more inept pirate attacks, so both Greenstone and Miru are considering theft as an option. It just keeps piling on, Jasper says in a somewhat awestruck tone. Perpetually. Generally, a problem is only solved when it's 4 or more generations back. Thankfully, at this point, the doom-filled conversation peters out as they arrive in the medical wing, and Lady Alure is all but ripped out of Jasper's arms to get her to a healer's bed to recover. Unfortunately, for the sake of expedience, Sister Bellwether drags Jasper towards one of the Order's washrooms instead, as covered in gore and wild-eyed from a life-or-death fight is no condition to meet the Council in. Jasper reluctantly agrees, although is more than a little worried if bathing will cause his lust to peak like the rains did.